And good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and coffee stream episode 468. And it is Wednesdays with Skep. I think he's just running a little bit behind, so we will await his arrival with great excitement. And what we're going to do today, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to kind of stream snipe Ricada, because this is the last day of the Rittenhouse trial. I know I haven't really covered it, at all. But it's probably important that we at least take a look at the last day. So I apologize if this is, completely out of context, but we should at least cover it a little bit. So we're gonna stream snipe we're gonna stream snipe Nick Ricada. I hope he doesn't mind. But we'll talk. Well, we'll provide commentary. Why? Oh, fuck's sakes. Apparently, I didn't send myself the link. Hello, Wikipedia snippet. Yeah, apparently I didn't actually send myself the link to the stream because I'm fucking special, apparently. Let's solve that. Where is it? There it is. I would stream snipe Monkey, but he said, or apparently his internet is a little bit, what's the word? Choppy. That's the word I'm looking for. A little bit choppy. So we're going to grab Nick Ricada's stream and we're going to show that instead. Be right there, says Skep Talk. That is perfectly fine, Mr. Skep Talk. I am setting things up. So yeah, Skep and I are basically going to listen and react to what's going on here, because this is apparently just before I went live. Pink Hollow was watching, and Kyle had a panic attack on the stand because he's actually testifying today. There's Mr. Skep Talk. Let's get to the actual proper page here. So yeah, when I get this pulled up, we're gonna actually see Kyle's demeanor, because from his voice, from the way that I can hear him speaking, this kid does not sound like the cold-blooded, calculating. Why did I hit the play button? That was stupid. He does not sound like the cold, calculating murderer that these people are trying to portray him as. Hello, Mr. Skeptalk.
Hey, how are you doing, Blind Press? It's nice to be here. I'm sorry I'm tardy.
That's okay. Sometimes I'm tardy to my own streams, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, you had generally been a little bit informal about the exact starting time of your streams, but I try not to be. Even though I've been late recently. It's just life's been a little bit disorganized for me recently, so please forgive me. Anyway, the phone is silenced. I think it's silenced. Did I make sure? And the grandchildren are quiescent, at least for now.
For now, yes.
Yeah, we can hope and pray that the little darlings are. Yes, it is silenced. Okay, and we should be kept in peace and quiet. The Federal Express guy just came by. I mean, he did 5 minutes before the stream started, and you get up, you start to do things, and you realize, shit, stream starting, and then you can't get the microphone plugged in time, and it's one of those things. It just so anyway, but I'm here. You're probably already talking about Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, I figured we'd do something a little differently because this is the last day. So I'm gonna be
last day of what?
Of the trial.
Oh, gotcha. No, I understand.
So we're gonna stream snipe Nick Ricada, and we're gonna talk about what's going on, and
Okay.
because I like Nick's opinions on things. He's a very like I usually don't like lawyers. Lawyers really piss me off
Now,
because
who's this guy?
Nick Ricada is
Nick Ricada. I think I've heard the name, but I don't know
he
much about
is a very intelligent guy. He did a lot of commentary on the stuff going on. I don't know if you followed the stuff with Vic Mignogna and the
him.
Funimation debacle with all
I
the
I did
sexual
not.
assault allegations and
No, that stuff just makes me tired. So
okay.
but yeah, by all means. So what we're going to do is piggyback on this guy's stream a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I thought Pinkala was special. Oh well, he's rubbing off on me, Wiki. That's why I'm being so special. Um,
Hi, Snip.
so
Nice
yeah,
to see ya.
they just before I went live,
Mm-hmm.
he had a panic attack on the stand. Kyle did.
Kyle Rittenhouse had a
Yes.
panic attack. Which
Yeah.
what did he explode? What happened?
So
That's different.
what happened was the defense actually called him to the stand.
Okay.
Now I don't necessarily
The
think they
defense
needed
called the defense called the defendant to the stand.
correct. After
Which-
the prosecution's witnesses basically solved the defendant's case for them.
This seems like a huge risk.
Yeah,
This
I
seems like
would
a
agree with
huge
that.
risk.
I would agree with that assessment. I would not, if I were his defense attorney, I would not have.
Was the trial going too well for them?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Good golly.
And just before I went live, apparently he, during his testimony, had a panic attack and they had to recess.
Okay, so which
honestly kind of goes towards the defendant's or the defense's favor because, like, you can tell when someone's faking a panic attack and you can tell when someone's not faking a panic attack. And cold-blooded monsters, as the prosecution would have you believe Kyle Rittenhouse is, do not panic attack when they are recounting having to take somebody's life. They just don't. And it's not something that they would think of faking unless they are like some sort of supreme sociopath who can play 4D chess and figure out, I need to pretend to be remorseful here.
Rittenhouse is at best a B- student mentally. He's not the sharpest trowel in the mason's cart. I don't think he would be able to bamboozle anybody.
No.
And I'll bet this is real, and I think you're right. I think this will be perceived by them as real. I don't know whether or not how sympathetic it makes him. I really do think, as I said last night, that mostly this is about overcoming a potential bias in the jury that he's guilty no matter what.
Yeah.
He's a right-wing Republican. He's not woke. He's not a liberal like us.
Yeah.
And he is therefore a serial killer.
A monster. That is the amount of consumers of mainstream media that I see on an app like TikTok when they're in their live streams, just shitting all over Kyle, calling him a racist murderer, And
Right. Yeah.
anybody in their chat that tries to have even
Oh, they
a calm,
get dog piled. Yeah.
it's not even dogpiled. It's, where are my mods? Ban this from my chat now. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's see here.
What one thing I'm kind of curious about what do you think Rittenhouse's state of mind was when he was out there with a gun? What do you and he, everything started happening, he got excited. What's your perception of how he acted and reacted and what his state of mind was really?
I think he had good intentions going to protect his employer's place of business. But I also think that if like, we've seen how these types of riots have unwound in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he probably should have not gone. But that is moot at this point. What he did do,
what did he think
when
and feel?
He was there?
Yeah,
I think he was honestly just trying to be a good employee and be kind of like, he was trying to do what he thought was the right thing. And sometimes when people do what they think is the right thing may not necessarily end up playing out the way they thought it would. And I think when people started coming at him, he was faced with a situation that, like, you really don't ever expect to be faced with. Like, yes, he went there to protect his employer's business, so yeah, he did expect some violence to be going on, but I don't think he actually expected people to actively attempt to take his life. And the fact that he, at 17 years old, was able to take out only the people who were coming after him in a panicked situation while fleeing and not hurt anyone else is pretty fucking impressive.
It speaks to his self-control, I think, as much as anything. It must have been a pretty emotional situation with a lot of adrenaline going on. It would have been easy to just start opening up on people.
Yeah.
And say, you're all my enemy, fuck you. And no, he, that really strengthens, in my opinion, the self-defense argument.
Like, he didn't even shoot the dude whose arm he vaporized, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't, like, the fact that he did not shoot him until that gun was pointed at him.
Yeah. Exactly. That's like, that really, that is almost textbook, self-defense. But the thing that Wikipedia says Terrence Popp thinks he should have brought at least 3 other people with him.
That would have been an even worse idea.
Yeah, the fact that he was alone really speaks to the fact that he was out there without bad intent. Yeah. I mean, if he had bad intentions, he would have, brought his own little mob, and they would have, started.
There would have been gangland warfare there in Kenosha.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the world will continue to spin very nicely on its axis without the 2 people he removed from the gene pool.
Agreed.
And if he removed the 3rd guy permanently, I think the world would even spin a little better. But that's my own utterly cynical point of view about those people and what their potential for contributing anything positive to the human race was, which is practically none.
Well, and apparently when Kyle was incarcerated,
mm-hmm.
He was literally ill pretty much every day because of what was going on. He was he was physically ill.
He was probably just he was probably in an anxiety state that he might have been a candidate for inpatient therapy, because people like that sometimes they have really bad outcomes, even die. You can die from anxiety. People don't realize that it can stop your heart.
Yep.
And if he's really prone to that, if he has a problem with that, it should have been addressed. He should have at least been on some sort of anxiolytic, meaning anti-anxiety medication. Anyway, the I can't believe that this trial is continuing. I still am stunned that they're
letting it continue.
Yeah, that the judge just hasn't gone. We're going to have a conference up here.
Yeah. Prosecution and defense, my chambers, please.
Yeah, exactly. You have no case. Do you have something to present other than this? Because this is a whole box of nothing.
Yeah. Like if I was this judge, I'd call up the prosecution team to my chambers and go, a first-year law student could present a better case than this. Well, please get out of my courtroom.
It isn't even so much that the case is presented badly as the facts aren't there.
No, it's not a case.
Yeah, there is not a case. Exactly. So at any rate, we're kind of beating a dead horse here. But
let's see if they're
tagline.
Oh, they're back to testimony.
Was 4 doors more whores? Yes.
Good times.
4 doors more. Why are we talking about TikTok now?
Correct.
Oh God.
Yes. And underneath that, you have put on your profile the phrase "bruh," B-R-U-H. I'm just trying, T-R-Y-N-A. Be famous.
Tryna, not tryin'. Tryna. Jesus Christ.
Famous versus infamous.
You testified that at some point you were involved in some sort of.
I think this is still the
EMT
defense
program.
I was a firefighter EMT cadet at Antioch Fire Department.
When was that?
That's the prosecutor.
Oh, this is the prosecutor?
Yeah,
okay.
That's the prosecutor.
I can never. They sound so similar.
So he's cross-examining.
I was a cadet at the Antioch Fire Department, I believe from 2018 or 2019 up until the incident of August 25th.
An EMT cadet is someone who's just beginning the process of eventually achieving full EMT certification. Is that correct?
No.
Were you studying to be an EMT before August 25th, 2020?
I was learning about certain things in the field of firefighting and EMS.
But that's not actually formal classes, is it?
No, we met once a week, and we would either, depending on the day, we would either do.
Why is he so stickler about this
EMT stuff,
training?
like learning how to do
here's what the DA is trying to do.
Or we do firefighters.
He's going to establish that Kyle is not an EMT, that he had virtually no training. He was at the beginning of his cadetship, in learning EMT, and really had no business out there. And his pose as a medic or someone who could help people was phony. He's going to paint him as a fraud and a bad person. He's trying to disparage his character so that he can nullify the jury.
That's okay. So he's basically this is because this is more than just a St. John's ambulance course. This is in-depth firefighting training, EMT.
This is to be a firefighter EMT. Yeah, exactly.
You were
He's lost.
Accurate.
He's completely.
Kyle's kicking his butt.
I was a member of the cadet program, which was through the fire department.
So yeah, Nick's got a panel of lawyers.
He's lost his pace. He has rehumanized Kyle. He's talking about the pancake breakfast. He's a regular kid again. He's not a
These
video
guys are
game
overanalyzing.
Yeah.
These guys,
There's
they're
no pace.
overanalyzing.
No, there's no order. There's no sense to it.
The guy who's talking is in love with his voice, his own voice. That liar. I'm sorry, but
I don't. I like that Nick kind of.
And that TikTok thing, it was like
official fight.
He's managed to forget about it already.
No, it's to help.
Yeah, you put the TikTok thing up,
Academy.
but you're also a
Yeah.
pancake breakfast fire boy.
You
Dude.
weren't going to be an EMT at the end of the program either.
Yeah, relax.
No.
You know that to be an EMT, you have to be 18 and a high school graduate, correct?
He's not.
You bastard.
Depending on the
Trying to
state
be
in
an-
Illinois, you can take a class at the college at 16, and you can have your EMT license by the age of 17. I wasn't in that
He's
class.
correcting him on.
You never did.
Consistently.
No, I-
Consistently. This guy.
Let's listen. Let's listen.
The night of
Thank you,
August
Nick.
25th, you're here in
Thanks,
Kenosha,
Nick.
Wisconsin, saying you're an EMT, correct?
Yes.
This is
That was
why
a
I
lie.
like Nick.
Yes.
I'm liking him better already.
You were also telling people you were 18 or 19 years old. That was a lie too, right?
No, I didn't tell anybody my age that night.
You never volunteered it at all, did you?
I didn't.
Because you knew as a 17-year-old you shouldn't have been there, right?
No.
No, I just didn't find it relevant to give my name. Well, I gave my name, but my age to anybody. It wasn't something that came up in conversation.
It's because you felt if people found out how old you were, they'd realize you shouldn't
Prosecutor's
have
a
been there,
mind
right?
reader, Skep.
No, it just because it didn't
Yeah.
come up in conversation. If somebody would have asked, I would have been like, yeah, I'm 17.
Actually,
So you felt that as a 17-year-old, it was appropriate for you to be out on the streets of Kenosha with an AR-15 that night.
define appropriate, Mr. District
I believe
Attorney.
I had any other right
That's what
to
you
be
say
there
back.
as anybody else.
As any other
Answer the
adult,
question.
As anybody.
but you weren't an adult.
No.
Boy, he's a winner. He knows how to win hearts and minds, huh?
And had been working for Y before that. Is that right?
Yes.
That was a YMCA down in Illinois, correct?
Correct.
And
Do you
had
think the
gotten
DA was
furloughed
hired
there
by
when
the
COVID
defense?
hit in March,
I don't know.
and you'd only started
It's like
working
a
at
secret
Red
weapon.
Flex August 14th, correct?
I believe I got hired before that, but I was on vacation on August 14th, so I couldn't. I was on vacation, so I couldn't start until
Oh,
August.
Kyle
14th.
has a speech
Your
impediment.
first time working
Yeah, he
at
does.
the Red Flex was on August 14th, correct?
I believe that was my
You
first
Got a
day.
stutter, I think.
And then you worked
Well,
the
he's
week after that
he-
from August 17th to August 23rd, correct?
he has
I believe
trouble
so,
finishing
until
words.
August 24th, I worked.
And then
Our
your
side
final
first.
shift was on August
It's almost
24th,
Joe
correct?
Biden-esque.
Yes.
You worked a total of 41 and a half hours at the Red Flex, correct?
That's the number you got.
And you were a
Why
lifeguard.
is this relevant?
Yes.
You were walking around their swim area with one of those red, long, life-saving things, monitoring the pool.
It's
Correct.
called a
Nothing is
life
Baywatch.
preserver.
So, but that was at the indoor
Trying to
pool. correct?
trivialize.
It was at the indoor. It was at the. I don't know if you're familiar.
Oh
Oh, you assholes!
Hold on.
Tech difficulties.
You guys made-
So yeah, let's unpack this. So why is the prosecutor like? Is he this dumb? Like, here, let's talk about how Kyle works at the YMCA as a lifeguard and is taking firefighting / EMS classes. And let's try and make this into a bad thing. Like,
Well, yeah, and the other thing is by belaboring it like that, it kind of packs into Kyle's story a certain consistency
yeah,
because people are so far ahead of the prosecutor, on this. They're saying, yeah, he's into life saving. Yeah, he's studying this stuff. We get this. We're tired of you talking about it, but you keep going on and on about it. And that just reinforces that over and over in people's minds. They're going to come out and think, Kyle's actually a pretty good guy. Maybe I'd be a better. What is wrong with this man?
like the defense. I'm starting to think that the defense actually had a plan when he put Kyle up there, because I think it wasn't so much the things that he could get Kyle to say. I think he was trying to get, because the prosecution has done such a damn good job of getting their own witnesses to furnish the defense's case for him. that maybe he figured that the prosecution would trip up and get Kyle to...
On those occasions when defense puts a defendant on the stand, a lot of times, particularly in criminal trials, it is so on defense summation, they can go in and say, we subjected the defendant to the best cross-examination that the prosecutor could do. We didn't have to do that. Yeah. That's how confident we are in this case. And then the defense attorney invariably will say, in my career as a defense attorney, I have never believed in the innocence of one of my clients so firmly as I do this one. That's why I put him on the stand. And you can almost expect that kind of a set of remarks in summation. And that is the strength of putting him on there, is having the confidence. The other thing I think that we haven't talked about that maybe is in this is that the defense feels the prosecution is so inept and so nasty, they want to give him a chance to show his ass to the jury.
Yeah.
And my God, he really seems to be doing just that.
Like you can tell that he's...
Wait, what just happened?
Oh,
pre-trial motion, he did not ask permission to go into this line of questioning. There's nothing that opens the door to this line of questioning.
Uh-oh.
Oh my goodness.
The defense either made a mistake by not objecting earlier or allowed Kyle to stand for himself and show, I know the difference between this and this.
Yeah.
What a stupid line of questioning.
Bold move, but it's working out.
It's a bold move,
but it's working out for them.
We will see.
Binger, I tweeted out a minute ago, the defense teed this case up for Binger to win. He's still losing it.
Yep. Oh, there it's back. Yay.
Mr. Binger is either forgetting court's rulings or attempting to provoke a mistrial in this matter. Can't go into this, and he's asking the questions. I asked the court to strongly admonish him, and the next time it happens, I'll be asking for a mistrial with prejudice.
Sanctions.
God damn.
Oh, God.
A mistrial with prejudice means there is no retrial.
That was the judge, was it not? That was speaking?
No, that was defense.
That was defense. God damn, what is with Wisconsin? Everybody sounds the fucking same.
I know. It's that accentless accent.
Everyone sounds the same in Wisconsin.
Everybody sounds like a fucking carton of vanilla ice cream.
They do.
Shit. Just can't tell one.
Your Honor, this was the subject of a motion. I'm well aware of that. And the court left the door open.
No, they didn't.
For court?
Me, not for you.
For me? Oh, shit.
Oh.
My understanding of
You should have come and asked.
Oh my God.
Listen,
You did on
the judge.
one motion, and in fact, I granted your motion for reconsideration.
That was not a motion.
He's yelling at him.
I did. I granted.
We did not move
That
to
was
reconsider.
their motion.
Don't shake your head at the judge, man.
In this case.
That was their motion for reconsideration, which I denied. But I said I denied it, or I indicated a bias towards denial is what I did. Held it open with a bias towards denial. Why would you think that made it okay for you without any advance notice to bring this matter before the jury?
Yes.
You are already astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence.
Oh my God.
That's basic law. It's been basic law in this country
screaming
for 40
at
years,
him.
50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that. And it gives, well, I'll leave it at that.
Oh, shit.
He's just almost said,
Yes.
this is a mistrial. He was just about to go there.
Yep.
Because in my mind, and I argued this, it is identical to what was going on the night of August 25th. In the sense,
In your mind,
He had
counts for nothing.
using this
In your case, very
exact same
little.
weapon, he was using it in a manner to try and protect property.
No, he wasn't.
There's, Your
Shut
Honor,
up,
with
guys.
all due respect,
I'm not going to
Shut up,
rehash the
other
motion.
lawyers.
Yeah, that's absolutely untrue. And there's no. Your arguments of record, my comments are of record, and why I ruled as I did is of record. There's nothing that I heard in this trial to suggest that anything's changed. Even if you're correct in your assumption that you know more than I did at the time, you should have come to the court and say, I want to go into this. Why you would think that you could go into it without any advance notice to the court, I don't understand that. And as the defense is pointing out, you're an experienced trial lawyer, and this should not have been gone into.
Your Honor, there have been things in this case.
Oh, don't defend it.
In this case, that I believe opens the door to this. For example,
dude,
evidence.
Don't pick that scab.
Pointed a
Gotta
gun
bleed.
at a man wearing yellow pants because that person was on a car on the car source lot. Now, there's no justification that I can think of why the defendant would point that gun at someone. The defendant has just testified this morning that he agreed with that person in the yellow pants, that he pointed the gun at him. He said, I was joking when I said that to the guy in the yellow pants, but he said, he's acknowledged that he told the person in the yellow pants, yeah, you're right. I did point a gun at you when you were sitting on a car.
He said, I did.
I said later.
Exactly. So he's agreeing. May I finish, please? I'd like to have a chance to make a record if I could, without being interrupted, if that's okay.
Are you fucking stupid?
Mentioned that he's acknowledged that he's used this gun to protect property. He's also just acknowledged that he knows he can't do that.
You could see.
I am attempting to impeach him.
I do too.
With the prior
It's like a
August
fucking
10th,
thundercloud.
15 days prior, involving the same gun, where he is threatening to use that gun to protect property. It goes.
You know the scowl you have when you have just had it with your children?
Yes.
That's the look.
Something
Oh
you
my!
haven't got a
He's
gun and threatening someone when you do.
You know, it's interesting, Your Honor, because the entire defense theory in this case is Joseph Rosenbaum, who was unarmed.
I want you to tell me what the defense theory of the case is. I want.
May I respond to what you just said, Your Honor? I'd like to respond to what you just said.
Ooh, that judge face.
I apologize, Madam Court Reporter, but I'd like to try and make a record without anyone interrupting me, if that's okay.
Oh my God!
I believe
He just stepped
that
on the
there
judge.
is a central part of this case that Mr. Rosenbaum is making threats that he has no ability to carry out. So,
He's going
to your point, Your Honor, you're arguing that this August 10th incident,
he's gonna
one aspect of why you
torpedo
don't
his
believe it's
case.
relevant is the defendant didn't have the gun with him.
He's just about to get one.
This case is about someone who didn't have a weapon, and yet the jury is being told because of those threats, that means the defendant has to defend himself. So, with all due respect, Your Honor, mere verbal threats have already been shown to this jury and used as a basis for someone's subsequent actions. I am attempting with the defendant to use his mere verbal threat on August 10th,
not a verbal
15 days prior, that he's going to shoot shoplifters with his AR-15 to impeach the defendant in a murder trial. I would ask the court's forbearance to do that. I apologize, Your Honor. You're right. I probably should have brought this to your attention earlier.
Probably. Probably.
No.
Willfully.
The judge
made that more relevant. You would admit it, or at least consider it as an admittance. I believe, based on the evidence that we've heard, and more specifically, exactly what the defendant said earlier about admitting pointing a gun at someone who was merely jumping or sitting on a car, that the door is open now to this testimony. And I continue to believe that his
jurisprudential.
Yeah, I can feel it through the screen.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's like he is just being torn into because he wants to rip this guy. He wants to find the shit out of him for contempt, call a mistrial, and kick this thing into next week.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
This is crazy.
Severely pissed.
Defendant on his beliefs and on his
listen
statements.
to the way that
You're entitled to bring a motion.
But it's beliefs. I think that's what they call
his statements to, Your Honor, because he just said can't use deadly force.
You just interrupted the judge
again.
So now I'm impeaching
again.
Exactly.
Your Honor, the court has seen no reason to change its ruling. And just so this record is clear, in spite of the lengthy statement by Mr. Binger, before we started today, the court specifically stated in Mr. Binger's presence, there's been nothing to have me change any of my rulings. There have been numerous occasions during this trial where they've opened the door. The one time when they're going into Mr. Rosenbaum's the reason he doesn't like guns. And I said something, I whispered in Mr. Krause's ear, it's because of the prior convictions. Please stop. And he did. He knows if you're going to go into something that's been excluded in a pretrial order, you better ask the court, you better get permission.
Mm-hmm.
Goddamn right.
Ridiculous.
It wasn't excluded, Your Honor.
You know why it was excluded in the first place? Because it's what
That's
was
the judge
propensity
telling him it was
evidence.
excluded.
Yeah.
That is exactly what 90404 is designed to prevent. You're talking about his attitudes. His attitude is he wants to shoot people. Now, I've admitted that kind of evidence in other trials when it's been appropriate. I didn't admit it in this case because, to me, what I've heard in this trial, and by the way, Mr. Richards absolutely correctly points out that just hours ago, I said I had heard nothing in this trial to change any of my rulings. So why?
Testimony, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
That was before the
Don't
defense testimony.
get brazen with me. You knew very well. You know very well that an attorney can't go into these types of areas when the judge has already ruled without asking outside the presence of the jury to do so. So don't give me that.
The look on the
That's
face
number
of
one.
the defense counsel is awestruck right now.
Yes, it is. I said at the time that I made my ruling.
The
and I'll repeat
angels
again
are
now.
singing for Mr. Richards right now.
My God.
Between talking about
Santa Claus
wishing you
is
had your
in
AR
the
gun, which you
courtroom.
don't have, so that you could take fire rounds at these thought to be shoplifters. And the incidents in these cases, which are not, there's nothing in your case that suggests the defendant was lying in wait to shoot at somebody or reflecting upon the shooting for a vast amount of time. Every one of the incidents involves matters that involve seconds in time. So I commented at the time, I don't see the similarity, and I don't see the similarity now. If it's not similar, that's the whole rule. Those are all the exceptions to 90404. Check the authorities. Wigmore and evidence. Judge Weinstein, Colonel McCormick. It's the prior act has to bear the signature of the accused.
This
or
is
it
first
has
year
to
law
be
school
so similar
that he's giving,
as
that
to
he's
suggest
explaining.
it's
I shit you not.
This is horrible.
You have an incident where he's making
This is
comments
criminal law one.
about some
This is
night
the first.
shoplifters versus
Costin, the
crimes
judge
that
is
involve
severely chastising the
instantaneous
prosecutor
actions.
right now. Like,
Whether
severely chastising the
premeditated
prosecutor.
murder or whether self-defense, that's for the jury to decide. But I don't see the similarity. I said it couldn't come in, and it isn't coming in. No matter what you think.
Wow.
Number two, I have to be concerned that with what Mr. Richards has said about the progress of the trial, and when you were I said you were over the line, close to or over the line on commenting on the defendant's pretrial silence, which is a well-known rule.
Yeah.
Judge is pissed.
I'm astonished.
So pissed.
He was pissed an hour ago.
So I don't want to have another issue as long as this case continues. Is that
We're
clear?
all astonished.
Oh, damn.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Know the law and do better.
They
Oh
didn't.
my God.
No
His
law do
ego.
better. That's a great
Pointed out.
comment.
You
Neither
never
pointed
talk to
out.
the judge like that.
Kyle was not reacting to the threat of words. He was reacting. His self-defense was.
So yeah, I'm glad we heard that part because
Judge is so pissed he's calling a recess. That's excellent.
That's wow. He needs to go to his chambers. He needs to have some coffee. He
Yeah.
needs to take a couple of breaths.
Suddenly, I'm watching the prosecutor. Suddenly, he's very interested in his papers, and he's shuffling them in a way that shows you that he's not reading them. He's just trying to calm down. His heart's going 1,000 miles an hour right now because he
I
thinks
will
he's
not
just
cry
lost the
in court.
case.
I will
Right,
not cry in
exactly.
court. I will not cry in court.
I will not hang myself in court. You know, you just hung your case. Oh my God. So yeah. I guess he was bringing up some history, up history that had been excluded in
the pretrial.
in the pretrial motions, and the judge had already ruled on this, and he stepped right back against a pretrial motion.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. You're familiar with the terms grounds for appeal?
Yes.
Yes. What that was right there is here's the way that'll play. That's grounds for appeal that the judge did not give the defense sufficient remedy for prosecutorial misconduct. And the prosecutorial misconduct is that that he stepped into something that had been excluded by a formal pretrial motion. Okay, Rittenhouse back on the stand.
Oh, do you think?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why did you guys use his instead of yours, if you know?
At the time, I didn't have a driver's license, and I would drive just to get to work and sometimes to go to Dominic's dad's house.
So even though you didn't have a driver's license, you drove from your home in Antioch to the Recplex to work that day?
Yes, to be able to get to work.
And then after work, you drove without a driver's license to Dominic Black's house?
Yes.
So I assume then on the week prior to that, when you drive yourself to work, that was also
he drove without a license. He's obviously a murderer.
Yeah. Relevance?
Yeah, relevance, please. What the fuck?
So you drove to Mr. Black's house. You left your car there.
Yes.
And also working at a Wendy's.
Yes.
And then the next day, you guys woke up at some point and came down to Ruther. Is that right?
Spent the night at his house and had dinner. Woke up in the morning. Had breakfast. We were going through I was on social media. We saw the damage, and we saw the car store. So we decided to go downtown.
And you came
Article
down
72, honey,
Dominic's
I think.
car.
Correct.
And you said that there was a time in which you were cleaning graffiti at Ruther.
Yes.
And then at some point, I believe you said, and I want to make sure I'm understanding the timeline here, that you went to one of the car sources and encountered the owners, Sam or Sal or whoever they are, correct?
Yes.
Which of the car source locations was
Come on, courtroom.
That's the one at the northeast corner of 59th and Sheridan?
Correct.
And that's the one that had gotten totally burned out on one of the previous nights?
Yes, that was the one where everything was destroyed. The other car sources still had cars there. So.
Now, before that, had you ever worked at Car Source before?
I have not.
Had you ever bought a car there before?
I have not.
Had you ever even heard of Car Source before all that?
Yes.
Through Dominic?
Well, no. I would drive past it on a daily basis. I was in Kenosha almost every day, and I drive down Sheridan Road almost every day.
Okay. So you saw the business along with the churches and the Ultimate gas station and the courthouse and everything else in that area.
Is he pretending that this just whole dressing down didn't just happen and he's going to continue on with this irrelevant line of questioning?
Right. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
You talk to these owners
to come protect the property?
They didn't ask me
directly.
They didn't ask me directly. They asked Nick Smith.
Okay. And was Nick Smith around for that at that moment?
He wasn't there when me and Dominic were talking to them.
Did you ever personally witness any of these Car Source folks, Sal or Sam or any of the folks that were running that business? Did you ever personally witness them ask Nick Smith to guard any of their properties?
No.
Did you ever witness any of them ask anyone to guard any of their properties?
Not that I can recall.
What time, if you recall, did you find out that they'd asked Nick Smith?
I believe I said in my direct examination between 3:15 and 3:30.
And that was shortly after you had sent a text to Sam, right?
Correct.
And you texted him and asked him if you could protect his business that night, correct?
I did.
And in that text, you said, I'm more than willing and will be armed, correct?
Yes.
You meant you'd be
That
armed
doesn't
with
mean
your
that he's
AR-15?
going to kill anybody.
And you said that me and my brother would both be there armed, correct?
Yes.
By your brother, you meant Dominic?
Yes.
He's obviously not legally your brother.
No.
I want to know what the relevance of this is.
So would I, because that's saying, like, that's like saying if a security personnel, like if somebody who is trying to become a security guard for somebody, Is like I can carry. I can work for you, and I'm armed. That's like saying that those people that hire themselves out like that are looking to commit homicide.
I think the difference that the DA is going for is that Kyle was trying to justify his position to be to justify the fact that he was trying to place himself in position to shoot people that he disagreed with ideologically.
Yeah.
And that's probably the defense is trying to build a fantasy basically to that the jury can say, well, we don't like Kyle anyway. We don't like his politics. We need a reason to find him guilty.
Yeah.
That's what I think is really going on here.
I'm glad that the judge is calling out the concerns that he has.
Just like everybody else, saying, stay off the streets.
Objection. There's no curfew charge.
It's still relevant to his decision making.
None of this is relevant.
Just like everybody else. You got a message.
How would you know everybody else got?
Get off the streets at 8:00 that night, right?
Yes.
And you came down, correct?
Already in downtown when I got that message.
Once you got that message, you didn't decide, I'm going to leave and go home like I'm supposed to, correct?
Like I'm supposed to?
And you knew that there was this curfew in place that meant you shouldn't be there anymore, correct?
Oh, okay. Because the curfew. That's what I'm saying. All right. I got it.
But the defense just said there was no actual curfew.
Not thousands of other people there that night that also got the same message.
So if they're all breaking the law, you can too?
Is that a law?
I don't think the curfew was really being enforced.
So if a law is not being enforced, you can disregard it?
It's not a law. It's a bylaw, you fucking retard.
Also a stupid question.
Yep. Also calls for legal conclusion.
Also, it wasn't lawful.
You said that there was a time in which Nick Smith asked you guys to drive him down to Chicago.
Correct.
To buy a piece of body armor.
Correct.
Down by O'Hare.
Correct.
And you guys were willing to do that at first.
Dominic was willing to do it. It was more of Dominic's thing because Nick Smith was going to give throwing like $20 to Dominic when he bought it for like gas.
So Nick Smith was going to pay $20 for the gas to drive down to
Defense,
O'Hare.
why are you not
Smith
asking the relevance?
Was planning on buying this body armor.
Yes.
And he needed that body, or the idea was the body armor would be used that
You
night.
may be paying out the rope.
I believe so.
That's why there was some
You think?
urgency about
Yeah,
going down
Richard
right away.
might be smarter than he
This
appears.
was part of the plan to come downtown that night, right?
But doesn't backfire.
He wanted to go to O'Hare to buy the body armor, so yes.
He's had him on cross for so long.
Can you rephrase it?
Absolutely.
Like,
Can you ask better
He's
questions?
taking the punch of whatever
Get that
he's
body
Can you ask
armor
better
that
questions?
day
Yes.
Was because he needed it
Hey, Robert.
for that night, right?
I wouldn't say
Hey,
he
Robert.
needed it, but he wanted it.
And instead of making the drive, you
should have had
that body, your own
at
body
the
armor.
most an hour worth of cross
Correct.
to ask the
You had it along
pinpoint
with
questions
you.
he wants.
Yes.
You
touch him up.
brought it along with you that day because you thought
Especially after seeing
you might
on
do it yourself. that
direct
night,
that he's a
correct?
good
No, I
witness.
kept it in my trunk of the car. I always had it.
You
Thank you,
drive
Nick.
around with body armor in the trunk of your car regularly?
Well, it's just in the back of my trunk. I never really took it out.
And you
What?
said at some point that day
You
you
should have
went to
seen the look on the
Jelinski's. That's
DA's face.
Really?
It's just completely nonplussed.
the 2nd Street to buy a couple of slings. Is that right?
That's correct.
And this was one sling for you and one for Dominic, right?
Yes.
And you bought 2 of the identical type of sling, correct?
Yes. The cheapest ones they had.
And that's a single point sling, meaning it attaches
Yeah,
to the gun in
'cause-
one
Because
location, correct?
people that really intend on killing for any reason, like if you plan on killing people, you want to cheap out. You know,
Right. Yeah, you want to save some money.
You want to save your money.
When
and
I
get the cheapest
kill a bunch
shit.
of people, I save it. Yeah, right.
Don't worry about it being stolen.
Fuck, man.
Because you realized that you couldn't have that gun on you while you're doing any sort of medical aid, correct?
I knew that I couldn't, without a sling, have it on me. That's why I got the sling, so I could have my hands free.
But even when you had the sling,
Is
there was
this
a
too hard for
time
you to
in which you
understand?
took off your entire gun apparatus and handed it.
I love
to
how
Joanne
Pincalo's
Fiedler
calling him
because
Phil
it was in the way
DeFranco.
of you trying to treat someone, right?
At that
That's
instance,
actually right
yes,
on the
because
nose.
it was hitting the ground. The rifle was hitting the ground. When I bought it, that was the purpose of it. I don't think it really worked. Now that I think of it,
This big long AR-15 really
Big,
got
long.
whenever
Big
you
scary
tried to
gun.
help someone, right?
sometimes
I get what he's trying to prove.
If you had
but
a
it's not gonna
handgun,
work.
for example, you could have it would have been physically more easy for you to try and treat someone. Fair?
if
Just
I
trying
could
to
have
see-
legally carried a handgun, I would have carried a handgun.
This whole thing is
instead of a
about
pistol.
him
I
trying
needed
to say
have a
Kyle had
rifle.
no reason to worry about anybody grabbing the gun because it was on a sling.
Yeah.
Yeah, or protecting Grosskreutz for having a concealed
You-
small gun.
Or that he didn't
Grab.
want to render.
Oh, I
the
didn't
evidence
think
when
about
he brought
that.
such a big
Yep.
gun.
From Dominic Black's house before you came
That's a good
downtown.
point.
What Kyle
Correct.
said
That
is
is a
that
good
I
point.
grabbed extra gauze, but
Simple-minded.
that's about it.
very simple-minded kid. He wasn't getting it thinking someone would take his gun off him. So, oh, this is easier to carry. That's exactly how the kid thinks.
Exactly.
You testified earlier that your AR-15 was loaded with 30 rounds of ammunition. Is that right?
Yes,
Where did that ammunition come from?
that was from our last
Store.
last trip up north from May. The time we took it up north.
So when the gun was left at Dominic's Black's house, it had that ammunition with it?
The ammo was in a box. Magazine. I don't really know.
Pincalo,
When
99%
you
of
were at
rifle
Dominic
owners use
Black's
slings.
house
Next question.
on August
Yeah.
25th, you found that AR-15 downstairs in his basement, correct?
No,
Where did you find it at?
it was downstairs in the basement, but I was told by Dominic Black, "Hey, go downstairs, grab your rifle."
So you knew up until that point that rifle was being stored in a gun safe in the garage, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't have the code or any access to that gun safe, correct?
I did not.
It just happened that on this particular day, Dominic Black's stepfather had moved that gun into the house, correct?
Yes.
You didn't know that before?
Kyle's like, what? Where's this going?
You didn't know that it had been taken out of the safe?
No.
And so you went downstairs and grabbed it.
After instructed to do so by Dominic, I did.
And it had that magazine?
After I was instructed to do so. After I was instructed to do so by Dominic, I did go downstairs and grab it.
And it had the magazine already inserted in the rifle?
It did.
And the magazine was already loaded with 30 rounds?
I believe
What's
so.
the point?
When did you chamber a round?
I don't know if I ever did.
It's trying to do
Well, you had
premeditation.
to fire the gun, right?
Yeah, I think it was
It's a
already
premeditated
chambered.
act
Got
to
it.
chamber a round when you're going to fire the
I
gun.
remember racking it.
That's how
out all
guns
that night.
work.
Because the way this type of gun works is
Oh,
that
God.
you have to
I
have
knew
a
it.
magazine with ammo in it. You have to insert the magazine into the gun, and then you have to rack it to load one of those rounds into the chamber, correct?
Yes.
And you were familiar with how to do all of that, correct?
Yes.
And it can't discharge a bullet unless a bullet is racked into the chamber, correct?
Correct.
And so your testimony here, as best you can recall, is that you never had to do the initial racking because the bullet was already in the chamber when you took possession of it that day. Is that fair to say?
I believe so. I believe that it was already racked.
And the ammunition that was in that was full metal jacket ammunition,
Oh,
correct?
come on.
223 full metal jacket.
223 being the
That's-
caliber.
Yes.
Like the
Full metal
most
jacket
common,
being
Standard.
ordinary.
Correct.
Again,
the full metal
probably
jacket,
cheapest
the bullet
ammo.
type.
Yeah.
The bullet type.
And was it shaped
I
like a bullet?
apologize.
Was the
And
bullet
you're
shaped
aware
like
there
a
are
bullet?
different types
Yeah.
of bullets, like
Was it
hollow
extra
pump bullets.
Are
pointy?
you?
Yes. Did the
um,
barrel have a
yes.
hole in the end?
And when you were in the process of purchasing this gun, well, let me back up for a second. You said that the 30 rounds of ammo were left over from previous. I assume you mean when you were up in Ladysmith?
Yes.
And you were practicing with the gun up there?
Yes.
And Dominic Black's family has some sort of firing range or shooting range up there. Is that right?
They have a gravel pit where it's safe to shoot.
And you and Dominic would practice with your AR-15s shooting at targets.
The attorneys
in that
watching,
gravel pit, correct?
all of them looked in
And you
some
would shoot at
state or
targets
another
as
perplexed.
all of the people on Nick's panel probably are like, what?
They're just going, what?
I was about.
Why
Where-
are we
Well, yeah, is
wasting
this
time?
was this some kind of 7D chess move? You know, or
You didn't shoot at any targets farther away than that?
He's playing.
No.
He's playing verbal Calto. That's what he's doing.
25 yards away. Did you see him do that?
I didn't, but I don't know what Dominic Black saw or what Dominic Black was shooting
actually,
at.
Pinkala
I
just
wasn't
pointed
with
out
him when he
something
did that.
really good.
I
Keep
don't
in
know
mind,
aware
this
of the
prosecutor
fact that
is one of those non-gun people think the whole casing goes down.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes.
probably not wrong.
I believe so.
That's
Did
really
you know the
sad.
capabilities of your own weapon?
I knew that it could shoot and
I knew which end to
from a
point.
distance. I don't know how far. I'm not an
What-
expert on AR-15.
What are you asking?
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you personally purchase that 223 full metal jacket ammunition?
I did not.
Who did?
Dominic did.
Does it
Did you
matter?
ask him to purchase it?
I did not.
He's
So
trying.
it was-
He's trying for premeditation.
So you didn't know
He's trying
what
to
type
get.
of ammo
You
was in
had
that
a
gun?
nefarious
I-
plan to go and kill people. Okay, like the serial killer you are. That's what he's.
Yeah.
That's why he's asking this, I believe.
The AR-15 round is bigger than a 380. Is what Pinkalo said.
Well, 223, yeah.
Yeah.
As you sit here today, you know that there are different types of bullets, right?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off.
That's a
Hollow
very
point bullets, for
interesting
example,
statement.
Do
He doesn't
different
have hollow
things
points. Why is it relevant?
Objection,
to an animal
relevance.
or a human than full metal jacket
any of this
bullets,
matter?
correct?
Yeah. Full Metal Jacket is a defense round, like another type of defense round. I know people use Full Metal Jacket for hunting, and Hollow Point is something that causes more damage.
Hollow point bullets are designed to hit the
Objection.
animal that they're being shot at. Let's say if
Why
you're
are you testifying?
Who cares?
Richards, come
Because the judge is
on.
letting him. That's why.
correct.
Object.
And the defense is letting him.
No, I don't think so.
When you
Finally.
say explode, are you saying expand?
This
or
is what
The
we
explode?
want.
court's
Because
objecting.
there are such things as exploding
It's not
bullets.
Judges
objecting.
object.
That's
He's
what-
clarifying.
For the defense.
Mr. Rittenhouse, what is your understanding of
Oh,
what
that's
a
what the
hollow
guy
point
said
bullet would
yesterday.
do
Oh,
if it were
okay.
shot at, say, a deer?
Who cares?
And I don't
Yeah.
think people use Hollow Point.
That wasn't my question, sir. What is your
Bazooka
understanding
was shot at a
of what
deer.
that bullet would do? Let me rephrase it then, because you're aware that people use hollow point
When
bullets.
is lunch
as
break
pistols
What does
to
it
defend
matter what
themselves.
he's aware of people using? What the fuck are you doing, my dude?
Lunch
He
break
was
to
carrying
figure
a
out
pistol
anything
loaded
more.
with
It's
hollow point
11:56 there.
ammunition for self-defense. You remember that testimony?
I do.
Yeah,
So, what is your
I
understanding,
think an
if you have,
AR
as to what hollow
15
point?
round is about half the size of a 380. Actually, I think he's
Speculation,
wrong, but
objection,
I'm.
relevance.
No, the
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
that
yeah.
testified yesterday was incorrect. He said a 223 was bigger than a 380.
Yeah,
and
that's not
Pinkalo
right.
said that's not correct.
Yeah, it's like half the size, I think.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know much about ammo.
Yeah,
I'm
223
trying
is
to think
smaller
of what I
than 380,
remember,
much
but
smaller.
I just don't know much about ammo.
So you
because-
didn't know the difference between what a full metal jacket bullet would do versus a hollow point, right?
I believe a Hollow Point I just don't know much about this.
Asked and
I
answered.
believe a Hollow Point would cause more damage.
If you're trying
To
to
the
go
first
for
target.
premeditation, dude,
But it
you
wouldn't
failed
continue through
because
any
he
other
clearly doesn't know.
I don't know the answer
Whereas
to
a
that.
full metal jacket bullet is specifically designed.
Put some words in
Through
his
its-
mouth, Mr. District Attorney. Put some more words in his mouth.
Yeah.
Objection.
You know,
Send the
first
jury
of
to
all,
lunch.
the hollow point is not guaranteed to stay in the first object.
Oh, the judge is speaking now.
Yeah, the judge is
What you said
speaking.
was not correct.
do his.
Secondly, no, but you've been testifying, and that's what.
Go to break for
Please
lunch.
don't talk about the case.
Yes.
Read Watch the Less Money Conference.
All right.
See you hope at
Let's-
about 12:45.
Let's watch based
Go for a
Wisconsin
break.
judge nuke this guy on ammo
I would
facts.
I would like
What
to yell
I
at the
mean, the
prosecutor some
defense.
more.
I don't know if they did move it. I only saw the
Apologize.
highlights. They should move for a mistrial with dismissal with prejudice,
They've
because
asked-
what that
they
prosecutor
indicated they
did was
might
a
ask.
patent
definitely
violation
bring
of
that up
Fifth
again.
Amendment rights as more than half a century.
So yeah, that I think they've broken for lunch.
Okay.
But so yeah, that's
They've also broken their case.
yeah.
That you know,
Wow.
establishing premeditation, establishing prior intent, which is what the DA I think was trying to do, is I'm going to call a big fail on that.
Yeah. Pink Hollow's right. He goes, the judge let him run on like this because he knew he was going to do this. Yeah.
And remember when I said that Richard is letting this guy is paying out rope? Do you remember my comment?
Yep.
And that's why Richards wasn't coming up with relevance objections all the way through that, because he thought, you know what, this guy, the DA realized he has to take some chances now, and he's going to kill himself.
The judge knows this isn't relevant. I'm sure the jury has figured out this isn't relevant. I'm sure if I was a juror in this case, I would be really pissed at the prosecution, because I would be like, how stupid do you think I am? Like, I'm not a Juris Doctor. I'm not but I'm not a turnip. You know,
right.
I
have the ability to reason. I can hear what you're saying.
Yeah. If I was a juror on this trial, I would be incredibly insulted by the prosecution.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be wrong to be that way. I think, and I would even add to that, Blind Press, that the DA, by going down this fairly irrelevant stream, made it relevant, but not in a good way for his case.
Yeah.
Now the jury's going to go back and they're going to say, DA was flailing at this guy and he still couldn't get anything that was meaningful with respect to convicting this guy. And even if, it's almost like the DA is working to unnullify the jury by just being such a pissant motherfucker to, everybody's going to wind up hating the DA by the end of this case. And I'm sorry, but some of these cases, people are people. Likability is a thing.
Yep.
And if people say, I don't want to vote for the guy I have come to detest with his pencil neck geek visage and his, maundering style, his badgering, whining about this and that, and then waiting to get clocked by the judge time after time.
Yeah. And arguing with the judge. That doesn't look good in front of the jury. That's not how you present. That is not a good way to present your case. If you're going to argue with the person presiding over your case, if I was a juror, I'd be watching that very closely. I'd be like, why does the prosecution feel the need to argue with the judge?
Yeah. I don't know if, the judge can call a directed verdict.
Yes.
When he can call a directed verdict anytime. I don't know when the prosecution can ask for it. I think they're once they give their summation, they have to be quiet. But the judge, after both summations, could just come and say, no, I don't. It's not even a matter of wasting the jury's time. It's unjust to keep this person imprisoned.
Yeah.
Because there is no case here at all. They're literally, and that's when they call for directed verdicts. That's when the judge says you are going to mark your ballots not guilty, and you will be polled and you will answer, in the affirmative. And I honestly could see that happening.
I could too.
because you could try this guy for a lot of things. He certainly is guilty of a misdemeanor gun charge, and you could probably get him on trespass, maybe even like second degree, potentially even felony trespass. I'm not sure. I don't know what, if he was on public property though. If he was in the street, it looked like he was in the street when he shot him. You can't even get him on that.
No.
He was out there with a gun. He was attacked. He defended himself. Case is closed. Yep. And we have it on videotape. That's the astonishing thing. I really don't understand, other than the politics of all this, why this case came to the court in the first place.
I'm with you on this one. And I really hope that, honestly, I hope that we end today with either a directed verdict or an incredibly quick
acquittal.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. There's an old saying that I happen to have had a lot of friends who went to law school and are lawyers, and they all will tell you, you never know what a jury's going to do. You really truly never know.
No.
And so we'll see what's in their hearts and minds. I think that they were very sensitive to the fact that they were filmed the other day, and I think they might be feeling a little bit spooked by that.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Do they go to the side of courage, showing courage and saying, well, we're going to acquit him anyway, or they say, no, we're going to find him guilty because that's the best way to protect us and our family, and we never wanted to be involved with this anyway. It's one of the problems with the jury trial. But anyway, we beat this one to death today.
We did. and I thank everybody for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Come by tomorrow on Twitch at about 1:00 for Beat the Blind Girl. And also, tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern, come by Scribe Light's channel, because I'm going to be doing a TED Excellence with him tomorrow night.
Wait, when is this?
9 p.m. Eastern, so 8 p.m. Central for you.
That's tomorrow
night. Yep.
All right.
On Scribe Light's channel.
Scribe's channel.
Yep. So that'll be lots of fun, as always. And of course, Friday, another coffee stream. And Saturday, Star Trek stream, we'll be talking about our, extrapolations on how we think the tech from Star Trek would have advanced past what we saw in the actual on-screen stuff. And that's courtesy of Hammer. So that'll be a fun topic. And of course, Skep Talks Minions show on Tuesday nights at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. And of course, thank you to Skep Talk for joining me as always. It's great fun.
My pleasure. It was big fun. I wish we had more cheerful things to talk about than a guy being wrongly tried like this, but maybe justice will prevail. Everybody keep your fingers crossed. Thanks for having me on, my friend. It's always fun to hang with you and do this. We'll do it again in 2 weeks, and you'll be on Minions, of course, Tuesday, I hope.
All right.
If the creek don't rise.
Right. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.